Hey, welcome back to Theoretically Practical, where this week or episode, whenever, I don't know when this is going to air, but who cares, we're going to be working on my beautiful, very nearly mint condition, 1994, full-sized Skee Ball Lightning arcade machine. Now, my fiance loves Skee Ball, and I think it's cool too. And I've been looking for a Skee Ball machine for a while. I figured, how expensive can they be? Well, go ahead and check at some point. They are pricey. So this is the cheapest, least expensive, full-size arcade Skee Ball machine that's not like an ice ball or something. She doesn't like ice ball. I don't know why, but she doesn't. So we ain't getting an ice ball. Machine that I've ever seen on Facebook Marketplace. I paid $400 for this machine. So it's a pretty good deal as far as I can tell. I think they usually go, in good condition, which this one is less than that. $1,600 to $3,000 if they're really minty. So I was happy at the price. So let's take a look at it. So what's the good? The good is, it's got the cages. It's got a really nice patina going on. You can't just buy them like that. It does turn on. It does work to some extent. So the story I was told is that it will turn on and it will play for a few minutes and then it'll shut off. So I need to test that first. I did look at it though. So it didn't come with any balls, but I bought a set online. So I've got a set of 5 balls for it, which is what the manual calls for. And in transport, or possibly before that, there is, oh wow, I'm not pointing anywhere near where I want to be. There we go. There's a little limit switch right here that is supposed to have a little wire on it, and it does not. So that's going to tell the machine that the ball didn't get stuck up here. And from what I understand is the machine plays fine for about a minute, and then it errors out. So I also noticed in some testing that I did, the rope lights don't work. So there's a lot of little things. I'm actually going to pull this out just so you can see. There we go. I'm actually going to pull this out just so you can see how simple it is underneath here. It's deceptively simple, actually. And it's interesting that the guy that I got this from, and I'd say this guy is the coolest guy I've run into in many years of Facebook Marketplace, Craigslisting, whatnot. This guy, and I won't say anything about where he's at because he's pretty private about his collection. He has in his space, I think, at least 500 video arcade machines. He did have a couple of Skee Ball machines. I don't think that was his jam. He had a couple of pinball machines. Again, I think those were things he just picked up almost by accident. This is a machine he was selling for a friend who was storing it in his space, and he seemed to really want to get it out of there, which is crazy because he seemed to have a ton of space, but I think when you're that into it, I don't think there's ever enough space. So I did ask him if he had Polybius, and he laughed and called me an asshole, which is appropriate. But I did see that he had an original Pong arcade machine, from the 70s. So he really was into the 60s and 70s video arcade machines. Super cool guy. And actually, just in case any of you are in the Maine-ish area or even further away, if you have a line on a cool old machine in virtually any condition, he is interested. So if you drop me a line, you send me an email, you'll have to check. It'll be in the description because I can't remember my own email address. If you email some information, I'll pass it on to the guy. I'm sure he'd be very grateful. I think he's got designs on opening a museum for vintage arcades at some point. So, that's something I'd love to support him in that effort. Not like, I guess I say, as much as I can. So anyways, it was a really cool experience. The guy was really cool, and I'm really pleased with this machine. But now I'm going to open up the cover like I said I was going to do all of 4 minutes ago. It's probably going to get cut and looped around. But that's fine. So it's kind of deceptively simple once you see it. It's just this trough here down the middle. The high-scoring balls go past these little limit switches here, here, and there. and then the other scores are here, here, and here. So that limit switch I said was broken. You can see this little wire, and you can hear it click, and that's how that works. Obviously, somebody's been in here messing with some stuff. So this is the back side of that board. It's literally plywood with like a foam applied to it, and then all the rubber bumpers, and then there's this circuit board here for LEDs on the front. I also haven't seen that run yet. Again, I literally booted this up to kind of verify that it basically does what I was told that it does, and then I said, okay, good enough. Yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna plug all the wires in between here, and I'm gonna replace that limit switch because I bought a 4-pack of them for like $12. They were super cheap. Load it up with balls. Just slide it together for now. It would bolt together when it's done, and see if we can get a game going. One thing to note on these old machines is these locks like this, someone tried to drill this one out and like gummied all that up because they were a barbarian. You just take a screwdriver, a little smaller than this one's a little big, you just hammer it in there, put a pair of vice grips on it, give it a twist. You won't damage anything that way, and that's what I did with this one to get this cover off. And you just end up twisting the whole body of it or something like that. Yeah, just don't rip things up just because it's so easy to do it right. While we're here, I think this is about the worst of the damage to it. It's just where you'd hit it with the ball, throwing it onto the edge. I'm probably gonna glue that together and just fill that up with like black silicone or something, just so that it's not as obvious. You can get new playfield for it. But again, this is just a fun toy for me. It is actually going in the living room, so we'll see how far I take it. I'll get it plugged in, I'll get it turned on so you guys can see what it does, and we'll give it a shot of playing as long as you don't make fun of how bad I am at skee ball, which is terrible. And we'll see how broken it is, because it could just be that limit switch that I pointed out earlier was the only problem with it. The other thing, I did some research on this. You can download the manual for free online for this machine that has all the information in it. And one thing I can do that I will probably do before I start is I can disable the ticket dispenser. Now, the ticket dispenser on this is in here. Whoop. And it's not looking great. Like somebody tried to just take it out the right way. It's kind of plugged in. It's kind of not plugged in. It's banging around, hanging off the wires. And quite frankly, I don't want it to dispense tickets in my house. I have enough tickets. Man, they left a lot of tickets in there. I just don't want tickets in my house dispensing because then I have to refill it eventually. And also, when I go into the control manual, it'll basically display up here. I'll walk through that process when I do it. I can also make the game play for free, so I don't have to sit there and like twiddle the little coin dispenser. But that's what we're gonna do for now. We're gonna twiddle the coin dispenser, and I'm not gonna change anything when I first start it up because I'd like to duplicate the session and the issues. And yeah, we'll go forward from there. So yeah, I'll bring you guys back in a little bit. All right, guys. I'm gonna plug the old girl in. You should be able to see her boot up. I'll run around and move the camera to look at the interesting bits of it. But yeah, so there we go. That line is not there in reality. It has to do with the refresh rate. You'll probably just see it scroll around. I might have to fiddle with the camera settings. That is weird. Huh. So anyways, that's what it sits there and does for a while. I think it's supposed to make noise, but either the volume's down. I don't really care. If this is in my living room, I don't want it making all the skee ball noises anyways. So to give it a play, you go down to the coin mechanism, and right there's a little thing, and there we go. 2, I think I gotta give it 4. All right, 4, and then I hit start. All right. Try harder. There we go. I want that big point. Let's see what it says. Total 120,000. Balls left, 1. Well, this time, whoop. Oh, look, I got the 100,000 points. Code 0. Okay, so now we got the error code. I'm gonna go look at the manual and see what that means. You can't see, I really need to, I don't know, I can't probably make that film right. But it says code 0 right there. Oh, wow. That's weird. Okay, apparently if I'm dead, that's very weird. I would assume those are just turning on and staying on. Maybe they're PWM, so they're flashing or something. I don't know, but code 0. That's not a, doesn't error out after a minute of play. It errors out after, oh, I see another problem. How many balls did I throw? I got 3 more balls left, and now it's stopped letting them through because it only uses 5 balls. But it lets you throw the same ball multiple times. I don't know that you have to have any specific number of balls in the machine. So, I'm going to go power it down, check out the manual, see what code 0 is, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got the manual here, and it says in the manual, does not give ticket at winning score, displays code 0. Step 1, out of tickets, read manual for more info. I thought this was the manual. Tickets jammed, read manual for more info. Clean optic eye, read manual for more info. Replace ticket dispenser and then replace controller. I don't want it to be the last one, so it's not going to be the last one, right? Ain't replace the controller. I don't know if I'm not replacing the controller. Maybe they're not that hard to get a hold of. I don't suspect it's that though. But I think it's number 1 and 2. But number 3 is clean the optic eye. So let me look at that one. And then we'll reboot it and go into the settings mode and disable the ticket dispenser. And then hopefully that's it. The optic eye, I think they're referring to, there's a little port there with a little sensor there. And to be fair, I would imagine that the little LED on the end of it that you guys, yeah, now you can kind of see it. No, there's just not enough. Oh, there we go. The little LED should be going on when something goes in here. So there's one on the other side as well. Oh, that's the emitter side, and that's the receiver side. So maybe it's supposed to be red if nothing's in there. So they're kind of dirty and there's crap in the hole. So I'm gonna blow that out with an air hose because that's the very easiest thing to do. And then we'll reboot it. Okay, so according to the manual, and actually it's kind of interesting to look down here. This has dispensed, oh, you can't, there we go, 168,117 tickets, and has taken in 61,098 coins. So this machine's made like 15 grand for somebody, which is cool. So it should go into program mode if I hold AUX 1 and AUX 2. Oh, there we go. Defaults, yes. Apparently on this machine you have to hit reset to get into that mode, not what the manual says. TD on, yes. I don't know what those are. We're gonna have to go through these. No. Coins 1. Okay, it's 1 coin per play right now. Yes. Sound is on. Balls are 9. All right. Well, with the ticket dispenser disabled, oh, I gotta actually give it a coin, a fake coin. Code 0 again. It keeps letting too many balls through, and that eye is not illuminating. So I think that's our culprit, because I would think that this would want to be illuminated. I want to look up the section of the manual on that and see if I can find that there's at least power to these with a multimeter, and then we'll move on from there. Well, I get under here, and the blue and the brown wire that are hanging in air are the first two that are going to power up the emitter half of this light sensor. So I can't use my hands in here and the light and the camera, so unfortunately I gotta put you guys down. But I'm gonna take a voltmeter and read between the two pins that are disconnected and see if I actually have any voltage there. It could even happen while I was transporting it, but it's kind of protected and tucked up there, and we didn't really beat on that part of it. So I think, yeah. Anyways, I think something's rotten in Denmark, and at least this is part of it. All right, I've got the connector in my hand with the wires connected where that blue and that brown go, and look at there, 4.95 volts. So there's voltage there, so that's good. So I just have to figure out how to get that out enough to repin that connector. I don't know, I think this is good news. Little simple fixes are in my book always good news. Okay, you see the light here? See that? That means that that's working properly now. I didn't show you me removing the pins from there because I don't have the right depinning tool. I mangled it a little. I don't want to show you what is definitely the wrong way to do it. I'm gonna slap the machine back together. I gotta remount the switch. There's some stuff I had to disconnect, and we'll see if code 0 has gone away. Okay, so I've been messing with the machine, and code 0 that I kept getting is because I'm an idiot. When you want to change the settings on these machines, you hold auxiliary 1 and reset, and it says defaults yes or no. To cycle through the options, you hit auxiliary 2. So it says ticket dispenser on, no. Auxiliary 1 turns it from yes to no. But to accept that it's not on, you have to then hit the start button, and then it goes on to the next one. And then you can just hit auxiliary 2 to cycle your way through. And now we have Skee Ball. Oh yeah, and the light that comes on in the middle, that was just unplugged and in the cabinet. And then the plug for the LEDs in this was disconnected. So when I start a game now, it does all the things it should do. So let's just make sure it says 2 balls left. Every once in a while it seems to count the wrong number of balls. Balls left 3. So it's like 1 off. I gotta fix that. And it'll tell me I have 1 ball left. So I just gotta, like I said, I gotta figure out. It's just one of either this limit switch here needs to be bent a little bit, or this one here needs to be bent a little bit, and I don't know which one, but that's it. So I'll put the final ball in. 20,000 points, not bad. Game over. Final score, 230,000 points. 0 tickets, because I turned not to give tickets. Game over. So it's ready to rock and roll. Except the rope lights don't work. Controller for the rope lights looks pretty bad. It might be replaceable, or I might be able to get LED rope lights to replace this, because these do look like may have had some abuse over the years. There's supposed to be 2 black light bulbs up in there, and that one's just barely glowing, which you can't see on the camera. So it's just a matter of replacing those 2 bulbs. That and, oh, and audio doesn't work, which, I'm gonna actually take that computer out probably and blow all the dust out of it, just make sure there's nothing obviously disconnected with it. The speaker in there also looks pretty crusty. So that may be dead, but if audio is the only thing that doesn't work on this, I don't really care. Yeah, I don't really want it to make all the noise it's gonna make, probably. So, all right, yeah, so I might take a look at that little light controller and bend one of those wires just a touch. So I probably should have just left the audio not working. Nothing's wrong's happened yet. It's just what's going to happen. But I also peeked into this cabinet and just saw the amount of dust on it. And like that's, I don't know, it looks better in the film than it does in real life. It is just atrocious. So I don't know that it's gonna fix my audio. This is the audio board, but what I'm gonna do is get some canned air and not use compressed air, take this off, blow it all out, clean it all up properly, and then just put it back in. I'll probably reseat these because that might fix it. I do hear a pop when this gets plugged in. That's also the volume, but I've adjusted that all the way up and it didn't change anything. But in any case, I really didn't want this being in my house with this much dust in it because it's kind of a fire hazard, I'd say, at this point. It's interesting. There obviously was other functions this was potentially capable of doing. And weirdly enough, this comes out of the side of the case and then back in over here. I don't know why. I guess it doesn't really much matter. But I'm going to clean it all out. And for the rope lights, I can just get some rope lights that are just always on, plug in 6-foot rope lights for $7.99 at Lowe's today, right now. So of course that's what I'm going to do. They won't blink or flash, but the original ones, the controller just got power, and it had a few different modes, but it wasn't actually interactive with the machine in any way. So in this case, they'll just come on when the machine's on. So, and then I'll get that cleaned up, clean up the top of the cabinet. I might also test the speaker. The speaker's pretty ancient, but still, I've never had a speaker do nothing, you know. And we'll get her cleaned up, and then we'll start the cleaning process. I'm just gonna start with soap and water and see how well it does. It does well enough. I'm not gonna bug it. Oh, and I'll probably bring these two bulbs with me. See if I can get a couple of these T8 black lights. I need T8s. Huh. Anyways, yeah, cause I think that'll make it look cool. Actually, if I find a pair of cheap T8 fixtures, these look a little crusty. I might consider just getting those as well, so. It's funny, these things look so cheesy from the background. Like, when you're in an arcade, like, this thing looks like this crazy cool monolith. Has all this stuff going on, and you get inside of it, and you're like, this is less complicated than a pocket calculator. Doesn't make it any less fun. It doesn't ruin the magic for me anyhow, so. Yeah, so I'll be back when I have stuff, and hopefully it's just going to be cleaned out. Hopefully I don't kill anything in the process. That's what I'm really worried about. But it's so crusty and so dusty in there. I can't leave that amount of dust in there in good conscience. So we'll get her cleaned up, put back together again. And then I got to find two friends that I don't want to talk to again, because after helping me move this, they're probably not going to talk to me again. And put this in where it's going. Alright guys, so I've been messing with the audio. I found out that the 5-volt power supply that's part of the audio card up here did nothing. So I put in a 5-volt power supply in parallel, and I got some interesting results. Not all the music doesn't work, but then none of the higher value ones work. Interestingly enough, when I swapped the two big ROM chips on the top, the upper ones worked and the lower ones didn't. So there's definitely some issues. There's definitely been some salt water damage to the electronics on this. So I took the coward's way out and found a whole new CPU unit with the audio card for this machine on eBay and ordered it. So as you can see though, I've got the rope lights in there, and they are not meant to be blinking like this. Something strange is happening in the machine. It's supposed to be providing 120 volts, 60 hertz to these, but I kind of like the flash. So I'm gonna leave it until I develop epilepsy. Anyways, So yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna put the machine back together, all completely back together, so you guys can see the finished product for now. The sound's not gonna work, but I might do a little quick update video in the future with the sound working. All right, here she is in all her neon glory, even though there's no neon. Just like the old school video game arcade. I did end up getting 2 LED black lights for up there because LED's better. So the sound card is out right now because I didn't feel like hooking it up properly. But let's go through one quick last game to end the video off. Oh, geez. And to any of you who say right now saying I suck, well, 1, you're right, and 2, it's hard to film and play skee ball. There we go. Oh. And now it says there's 1 ball left. No, it says final score. Perfect, okay. All right, well, there it is. It's the cheapest skee ball machine on Facebook Marketplace. Now you know why it was the cheapest machine. I think by the time you count the $400 I spent on the machine, the new CPU was $200, but I felt like I had to buy that now because it was available, and the one in there is so corroded, and I may not be able to fix it if something else goes wrong. And then the balls and everything else, I'd say I'm a good $700 deep into this, which is not outrageous, and I think it's super cool. So, I mean, how many people do you know with a skee ball in their living room? Which, this is not my living room, but we're going to be moving it pretty soon here. So, that's all for this week. Next week, we'll be back to heavy equipment again. This was just sort of a brief aside. Have a great week.